finish with a story I told the girls, all right? Because it's useful for you as well. There were three fish in a lake. One fish was brilliant. The other fish was intelligent. And the third fish was ahmaq. Samakun ahmaq. A stupid fish. All right? And one day, the lake wasn't big. One day a fisherman came and he started casting his net. So the intelligent fish, the brilliant one, he said, it's time to head for the sea because the lake is too small and we'll get caught in the net eventually. So he left, went to the river, down to the sea. The smart one, he said, that's the most intelligent fish in the lake, and if he's heading for the sea, I'm going to head for the sea. The stupid one said to him, it's a long journey to the sea, and it's a big lake, small net. We should just stay here, enjoy what we have. Nothing much has changed. He disagreed, he took off for the sea. So the third one, the stupid fish, he got caught in the net. And then the fisherman took him out and he was frying him. And in the frying pan, as he was frying, he said, if I ever get back to the lake, I'm heading for the sea. Okay? So, don't be like that last fish. Life is a journey to the ocean. You're not meant to just stay in your limited understanding. Expand your mind. You don't get trapped in the trivialities of, in safasif al-umur, the Arabs call it, low things. Terbisu iblis. Don't let these dark forces pull you away from your higher calling. To be productive, intelligent, human being that actually has something to add to the world, and you're not just filling space. Too many people filling space and not benefiting others. All right? In terms of the parents, I hope you take seriously the advice about television. Television's a major problem. These games are a major problem. You should read some of the studies about it. PlayStation Nation is a good book to read about serious studies that have been done about the negative effects that these games actually have on neuroplasticity, on attention deficit disorder. There's a lot of work that's been done in this area. Obviously, it's not published because the same companies that own the newspapers, right, own the shares in Nintendo stocks, right? Really. There was a book written in 1958 called The Evil Eye, which took me a long time to find. I read about it as a source book in another book. I found a copy in Australia on the internet because it wasn't ever reproduced. This book had documented research from the 1950s about the negative effects on television on children that were done, serious scientific studies. One of the studies that was done found that small children will not watch real-time television. They get bored. So a 3, 4, 5-year-old, they won't watch a movie like regular people. They just get bored. So that's why if you look at children programming, it's speeded up. It's not in real time. So Sesame Street, it's all quick things, changing images. Now we have the MTV phenomenon, which is children that grew up on that type of programming cannot watch normal films. If you watch a film from the 1950s, they're very slow. If you watch them from the 40s, they're very slow. They're driven by dialogue, not by movement. Now, all the films are driven by quick moving, car crashes, bombs exploding. It's all stimulation. Because young people can't watch. If you watch plots like Crash, older people that watch those films can't even keep up because it's just too fast for them. This is what's happening. And then we have attention deficit disorder is a major problem in the developed nations and increasingly a problem in other places. 1 out of every 58 males in the United States of America is now diagnosed with autism. Tawahud. 1 out of 58. It's a disease that wasn't even identified until the 50s. And very handful of people. Now, since the 1980s, there have been a massive explosion of Asperger's disease, autism, and you're starting to see autism now in the Arab countries. Children are overstimulated, they're becoming hyperactive, because you're putting them in front of all these interactive things, so they can't sit in a classroom without fidgeting and getting completely, their train of thought is lost. They can't concentrate for long periods of time. They won't be able to read books. A book like the Brothers Karamazov in English literature is a long book. There's a lot of plot changes. There's a lot of characters that you have to keep in mind. If you've ever read Russian literature, you have to memorize several names to keep up with what's going on. And some of the characters have 3 or 4 different names. You won't have students that are able to read that. They won't be able to read the great literature of the Arabs, Mutanabbi, Badi'u Zaman al-Hamadani, al-Hariri, Ibn Muqaffa. They won't be able to read the Hamasa, Ibn Mubarrid, any of these things, because it takes directed thought to do that. So there's a massive responsibility now, and you can't just be like sheep that kind of accept everything that happens and just, khalas, taqaddum. So a lot of these things are not progress. They're quite the opposite. There's a study going on right now. It's a major long-term study on the effects of cellular phones. But the American Association of Pediatric Physicians says that children, before their skulls are developed, shouldn't be using cell phones, because the skull is too thin and the radiation is reaching their brain at higher levels. We don't know if they're going to have tumors in 10, 15, 20 years, because this is a guinea pig generation. And we have something which called the cautionary protocol. The cautionary protocol, which is used by Europeans and Canadians, and the Americans just because of our kind of capitalistic enterprise and stupidity, refused to follow that cautionary principle. The cautionary principle states, if you're unsure about the harmful effects of something, then you should have precautionary measures before you actually do it, until you find out whether or not it's harmful. If in the volcano in Europe, that was based on the precautionary principle, because the Europeans practiced that. A lot of the American commentators were saying they should have let the airplanes fly, but the Europeans were saying no, we don't want to risk airplanes crashing and people dying, because we're not sure the effects of these the volcanic ash is going to have on these airplanes yet. That's intelligence. It's intelligence. Khudu hidrakum, be precautious. So you have to really think about what's happening, because you're going to have problems with your children before you know it.